Week 4. Oh man, a lot has been happening in the story of Esther. Here's a quick recap. King Xerxes needed a new queen. Because of God's plan, the king chose Esther to be his new queen. But Esther had a secret. She was a Jew, one of God's people. Esther was raised by her uncle Mordecai. And there's another guy, too. He's a really bad guy named Haman. He was one of King Xerxes' highest officials. But he tricked the king. What was the trick, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Haman tricked the king into signing a law that the Jews would all be killed. Why would Haman want the Jews to be killed? Well, remember Esther's uncle Mordecai? He was a Jew, and he only worshipped God. So he refused to bow to Haman, and that made Haman really angry. So angry that he tricked the king into making this law. When Mordecai learned of the plot to kill the Jews, he begged Esther to do something. Mordecai told Esther, "If you do not help your people, God can still save his people another way. But maybe God put you here for a reason." When Esther heard what Mordecai asked her to do, she was upset over the law, but she was also very afraid. The king did not know that she was a Jew or that it was her people he had sentenced to death. And here was another big problem. No one was allowed to go to the king unless he sent for them and handed them his scepter. If she went to the king and he did not want to talk to her, he could have her killed just for asking. How scary is that? No wonder she was afraid. Esther asked Mordecai to fast for her and have all their friends fast too. What does fast mean? It means they did not eat and they prayed for God to help her instead. After 3 days of fasting, Esther wore her prettiest dress and went to the king. She stood at the door, not knowing if he would let her come in or put her to death. King Xerxes invited her to come in and handed her the golden scepter. What a relief! She was allowed to talk to the king. God had made a way for Esther to talk to the king. Then King Xerxes asked what she wanted. Esther was wise and invited King Xerxes and Haman to a feast that day. As they ate the yummy food, the king asked again, "What do you want?" She said she wanted to have another feast tomorrow for the king and Haman. Then she would tell him her request. When Haman was invited to another feast, he was full of pride and excitement and told all his friends and family. He thought he was super special and really important. But he couldn't forget that Mordecai would not bow to him. So he made a plan with his friends to kill Mordecai the next day. Oh no! Mordecai is in trouble. Will Haman's plan work?